Welcome, everyone. This is our normal City Council meeting on Thursday, April the 11th, 2024. It's great to have everybody with us. And the first thing is we're going to start out with the invocation and the pledge of the flag. The invocation is going to be handled for us by one of the members of Mr. Simpson's Scout Troop, and I believe that's the Methodist Church. Is that right?
That's a Catholic church.
Which one?
Catholic church.
Catholic Church? St. Oliver's. That's where I go. Very good. That's great. Okay. I don't know why I had the other thought in my mind, but that's okay. So could y'all come on up and let's do the invocation?
If everyone could please take off any non-religious headwear and let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us meet here today as scouts and members of the community of Loganville, and let us have a productive meeting and get home safe after this. Amen. And if the scouts could just join me over here as we say the pledge.
Okay, Scouts, your leader's calling on you. Are you prepared?
You guys can just line up over here. And if everyone could please face the flag as we say the pledge and Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To Scouts, dismissed.
Thank you so much. Good job, guys. I need to see you just a second. You did great. Good job. Thank you. Okay, just for process, we'll do a roll call real quick. We have all the council members here except for Bill Duvall. So we have 5 council members here for tonight. And the city manager's here, the city attorney's here, and the mayor's here. And before we do anything else, before we adopt the agenda, I have a presentation we need to make, and we'll do that now. Lauren, would you come on up? Lauren, bring your friend with you. Come on. Everybody wants to be on the front. Now, I got real wordy with this, so bear with me. This is Lauren Gregory. She is the leader of the Child's Voice Advocacy Group. And you introduce?
This is Kayla Radford. She's been with us close to a year. She works as a forensic interviewer and family advocate with us at A Child's Voice.
Okay. And they do great work, because I'm telling you, it's tough work getting the kid to open up. But anyway, you can hear a lot of whereas and where he is and all that stuff, but here we go. Whereas since 2009, A Child's Voice Child Advocacy Center has served 3,136 plus clients in cases of child physical abuse, sexual abuse, and or a witness to a violent crime in Walton County, Georgia, by conducting forensic interviews, forensic medical exams, and family support services. And whereas the Center for Disease Control and Prevention suggests that reported cases of child abuse may be underestimated the true occurrence, and estimates that 1 in 4 American children experience some form of child maltreatment in their lifetimes. 1 out of 4. Tough. And whereas Darkness to Light reports that around 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused by their 18th birthday, and only 38% of child victims will disclose their abuse. And that means that about 62% try their best to live with it, and some cannot. So it's a toughie. Whereas according to Darkness to Light, victims of child abuse are significantly more likely to experience emotional, psychological, health, and behavioral issues. And whereas children's advocacy centers like A Child's Voice work within the community to spread awareness about child abuse, teach citizens how to recognize the signs, respond to child abuse, and utilize a multidisciplinary approach to coordinate and care for families with the help of Loganville law enforcement, DFCS, District Attorney's Office, school systems, and mental health counselors. And with a strong support system and effective counseling, children are able to heal from physical and sexual abuse. And whereas a Child's Voice Child's Advocacy Center invites all residents of the city of Loganville and Walton County to participate in Child Abuse Prevention Month in April 2024 by sharing their time and talents to help create better, brighter future for children and families. Now, therefore, I, Skip Beliles, Mayor of the City of Loganville, do hereby proclaim the month of April, April the 1st through the 30th, 2024, as Child Abuse Prevention Month. In the City of Loganville, encourage all residents to become aware of the prevalence of child abuse in our community and to learn how to properly recognize, respond to, and prevent instances of child's physical and sexual abuse by supporting children and families and the agencies that serve them in the city of Loganville, Georgia. And I have put my hand on this proclamation on the 11th day of April 2024 with the great seal of the city of Loganville. Got to tell you, it's a tough part of our society, as we all know, and these folks have been working diligently for several years. I think you just got another office, didn't you?
Yeah, second location in the same complex.
Okay, but the second office. And I know it takes a lot of work sometimes to get these kids to open up. I mean, we all know that. It's very difficult to talk about those kind of things. Also, when you drive by the American Legion for the next couple of weeks, I guess, you will see those windmills out in front of the American Legion, the blue ones. That is their logo, pinwheels that Linda Dodd got taken out of our sign ordinance. And so that is people who donated money to their cause bought those pinwheels to put them out there. So with that, thank you so much for what both of you do, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's yours. You want
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I won't take much of your time. I know y'all have a long meeting, but Skip did a great job explaining what we do. But we are a local nonprofit serving families, children, and teens in our community. A lot of people don't know who we are, and so part of what we do for Child Abuse Prevention Month is spread awareness about what our agency does, who we are, and to promote hope. What the mayor read was pretty tough, and child abuse is a tough issue to hear. But we know that kids can really heal. We know that positive experiences are oftentimes more impactful than negative ones, and we can build up positive experiences for kids that we know, kids in our lives. So that's my challenge for y'all this month to celebrate Child Abuse Prevention Month. One, look at our pinwheels and feel the happy and the whimsy that we feel. The pinwheel represents safe, healthy, happy childhoods. But pay attention to the kids in your life. Make sure they know that you're a safe adult. If anything happens to them, they can talk to you, and believe a child if they tell you something's happened to them, and then please report it to the proper authorities. You can always call us. You can find us on our website. I have some brochures and business cards, but we're a resource for the community because we know kids can heal when they get the help they need, and so that's what we're here to do. So thank you. Thanks to the City of Loganville, Loganville Police Department, all the agencies, and all the ways that y'all support people like us working to help children. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we need a motion, please, to adopt the agenda. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the agenda is accepted. And now I'd like to call on Mr. David McCoy. He is here with our auditing firm and going to give us a report of our recent audit. David, come on up. The mic is on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Again, my name's David McCoy. I'm here representing the firm at McNair, McLemore, Middlebrooks. We're the firm that provided the independent audit review of the City of Loganville's 2023 financials. Each of you should have a copy of the report in front of you. So we'll just briefly hit the high points here on the report, and if anybody has any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. If we're unable to answer anything you may have tonight, then we'll make arrangements to get back with you tomorrow. Okay? So just beginning on page 1 here, that's the auditor's opinion. I always like to point out when I'm presenting a report to the board is that this is the only part of the report that belongs to the auditor. Okay, this is our opinion, and so our opinion is based on what we learned while we were here performing procedures, going through your records and analyzing the data. Everything else in this report was created and handled by your management team, your finance people, and they did a great job of getting the information organized and ready for us to come in and provide the audit service. This particular audit opinion is what we call an unmodified opinion. This is the highest level of assurance that we can issue on a set of financial statements. And what that opinion means is that through our test work and our testing of your records, we were able to determine that all numbers reported to you here today in this report are materially correct. Okay? So, flipping over to page 10, this is what's referred to as your government-wide financial statements. This is your balance sheet at the government-wide level. You'll see 2 columns on the statement. One's for your governmental activities and one's for your business-type activities. The governmental activities will it'll be the summation of different funds, your various SPLOSH funds, your general fund, your ARPA fund, your various governmental funds. And then your water fund and your sanitation fund is what's rolled up into your business-type activities. So you'll see at the end of the year, the city had an ending cash balance of just over $46 million in cash. Had $949,000 in investments. That's your Georgia Fund 1 money. Had receivables there. Total ending assets for the year for governmental and business type was $101,476,083. Had some deferred outflows related to your pension and your OPEB plans. And then you had some liabilities over here that offset your assets. So the important thing here is your ending net position for the year. So your governmental activities ended the year with a net position of $38,065,237. Of that amount, there's $13,063,620 in what's termed unrestricted net position, and that's the portion of the net position that you can make continuing decisions on how that funding is used for the betterment of the city of Loganville. In your business type activities column, you'll see that your ending net position was $33,548,844. The majority of that is in your investment in your capital asset, your water systems, and then your unrestricted funding in those particular funds also, $14,233,708. If you flip the page, you'll see here on page 12, this is what's called your statement of activities. This is in essence your income statement. And what this statement shows you is what transpired during the year for these 2 particular fund types. So you'll see your governmental activities had an increase in net position during the year of $5,273,429, and your business type activities had an increase of $1,661,174. So that's your government-wide statements. If you flip over here to the next page, page 13, this is where your governmental fund statements begin. These are the statements that are going to be broken down. You're probably going to recognize the names of these funds a little bit better. So this is where your general funds reported, the ARPA fund, the 2019 SPLOSH fund, and then you'll see we have another column here called non-major governmental funds. So there's numerous other funds that are consolidated into that account, into that line item. If you're interested in those particular funds, there's a summary schedule in the back of the report that'll give you that detail. But just hitting these major funds here, you'll see that the ending fund balance for the general fund was $16,365,476. Of that, the majority is what's considered unassigned, $15,066,224. The next fund there is your ARPA fund. It doesn't have a very big fund balance, but that's because it's limited. Any remaining grant funds that the city has is reported as unearned until used. And you'll see, so at the end of the year, the city has roughly $4,880,000 in ARPA money left to be used in the current year. And so that'll be very important for the city to manage those funds during this fiscal year, this calendar year. You'll see your next fund here is your 2019 Splosh Fund. That it had an ending restricted fund balance of $7,097,128. So your total fund balance for all governmental funds had an increase on the year of $5,204,122. The majority of that was in the general fund and the Splosh Fund. Both of those funds increased just over $2 million this particular year. Flipping the page on over to page 20, this is where your preparatory funds start. So this is where your two business type activity funds are reported, your water and sewer and your solid waste funds. You'll see both of these fund types had positive net positions at the end of the year. The water and sewer fund reported $29,919,073, with $10,603,000 of that reported as unrestricted at year end. The solid waste fund had a $3,629,771 unrestricted net position at year end. Both of these funds showed a positive gain on the year. So if you flip over to page 22, you'll see that the water and sewer fund had an increase of $1,147,530 for the year, and the solid waste fund had an increase of $513,644. Again, that's a really good year, particularly for that solid waste fund. That a lot of times in other local governments, that particular fund, you see more times than not, it has to be subsidized by the general fund or possibly the water sewer fund to provide funding over for your solid waste. So you guys have done a good job of managing your rates in order to provide that service, but also be compensated for that service for what it costs to provide. So that's good to see. There were two comments reported in this report. You'll see both of those in the back. If you want to flip over to page 65. The first one here is, we call it a general ledger maintenance comment. Basically, while we were doing our procedures, there were a few identified receivable accrual type entries that was required. And so therefore, we were required to report those to you. So that's what this comment's about. The second comment here is about the budgetary control. So this is a state issue. So your ARPA fund is what's called a special revenue fund. You're required to have a budget for those funds. So anytime you have excess expenditures over your budget, you'll have this type of a comment. The city can avoid having this comment by doing a budget amendment at year end. For any ARPA funds that were expended during the year. So next year, I think it's probably going to be a big year for ARPA, usage of ARPA funds, so you'll want to evaluate that at the end of the year to see if you need to do a final amendment, and then that way we wouldn't have this type of comment. Okay? Does anybody have any questions?
David, if I remember correctly, the ARPA funds have to be spent by the end of 2026.
They have to technically be committed
Right.
by the end of '24.
They have to be, they have to be assigned to something.
That's right. So you in essence have to have them. The cash may not have to be out the door, but you pretty much have to have them be spent by the end of this year.
Okay. And isn't there a report due at the end of this month, Natalie? April 30th? But we was waiting for the audit to get that done, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, in my few years in government, generally it's said that a city is doing a good job if they have a certain number of months in reserves. In
Okay.
case we have a downturn like 1932, God help us, or 2008, 9, and 10.
Right.
What is our position as it relates to?
Extremely strong. You know, you hear all kind of different thoughts on how much should be in reserves. The rule of thumb is anywhere from 3 months' worth of operating expenses to 6 to 9 months. It's whatever your comfort level is. So if something was to happen in the government, you would be able to maintain the same level of services for X number of months. In your case, just as we just discussed going through these statements, you have, in essence, because you wouldn't consider your net investment in your capital assets, because that's money you've spent. That's your piping in the ground, that's your facilities out here, so you would back that out. But in essence, you got roughly, in your governmental activities, you're looking at roughly a 25 million there. And so I think if you was to do the math and divide 25 million by, so you, on average, you have 14 million in expenditures for the year. So roughly you're just over $1 million a month, $1.5 million. So I think you'll see that you've got well over a year
Very
in your
strong.
governmental activities. So that's very strong.
Thank you, thank you. Any other questions? Okay.
On page 65, where you go through the general ledger maintenance items, that first statement below general ledger maintenance, the criteria, timely and accurate financial, why is that in there? Is that routine, or is
Talking about the
it?
criteria?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. That's a required part of any finding that's issued.
okay, so this would be written on anybody's certified audit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
That-
that's what I
yeah,
wasn't
That's
sure.
actually very, it's very boilerplate.
Okay,
That particular
okay.
comment is, yes, ma'am.
That's what I was wondering, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Below that, where we get into the actual adjustments,
The context?
yes.
Okay.
I don't even know how to put this gracefully. You're okay with that? I mean, you see that as being normal in the day-to-day operation of a business?
Absolutely. But we see these types of adjustments all the time. There's nothing here that, that causes us concern. You know, we've gone through each of these transactions in depth and made sure that they were properly recorded. Just in conversations, we don't anticipate having these types of, this comment next year. But there were just year-end adjustments that didn't get made prior to us, so.
I personally, and it matters not, because I'm not doing a certified audit, but it just seemed a lot to me. It was well over $2 million.
Well-
and that's just kind of a lot.
Well, that's just because Splosh is big numbers. You
It
know,
wasn't
you-
all splosh. One of them was the water fund, $900,000 some odd dollars.
Right.
In fact, probably the least amount, well, splosh was probably in the
Well,
in the
what
middle.
that comment on the water fund's actually talking about,
Yeah.
that's the actual bond payment. The payment was made, it just wasn't in the right account. So we just adjusted it and moved it to a separate, to the correct account. So it's not saying, that's not saying the bond payment wasn't made. The bond payment most certainly was made.
Oh, no, I realized there was just an
Okay.
entry mistake.
Yeah, that's just a
Yeah.
classification.
It goes on to say decrease expenses for debt service payments, so I
That's-
assumed there was an expense in there somewhere.
Well,
That's
in that particular fund, you don't report it as an expense because it's reported as a liability.
So
And
what does
it's
that
moved-
statement mean?
It means that it was in an expense account and it was moved to a liability account.
Gotcha, okay. So all of these are posting mistakes, but they always
Well-
would be posting mistakes on the certified audit, correct?
Right. And two, now, it gets, You know, it all depends on what basis of accounting you're talking about. That, posted that way in the general fund would be absolutely correct. In the water fund, because you're on full accrual, it's not posted that way.
Oh, that's one of the mistakes, but there are others.
Right.
Yeah, the water fund was the 900 and some, but I mean, there are
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
I actually reviewed a report today for another government who's wanting us to propose on their work, and they had 50 journal entries. So this fails in, what I'm saying, this may seem like a lot, it's really isn't. This really isn't. It's just the dollar amounts is what gets them on here. Like I said, both of the two comments about the splosh, that they're just, that's the dollar amounts that come in monthly from the state, so.
So you're saying that's not a mistake, or you're saying it is a mistake?
No, I'm just
The
saying,
splosh.
we had to make an adjustment in order to reconcile it and properly report it in accordance to what was provided.
Okay. So that was you, not the city, that,
No,
the
we-
city didn't fail to do something, you were just doing it because of the certified audit?
Right, we made these entries. We
Okay.
ended up making these entries during our test work.
Okay. Do you normally do that
Yeah.
on all certified, you make the entries for splashed or lost or whatever the case may be?
We make a lot of entries like this.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a very complicated, unusual system that most CPAs takes them a couple of years to understand it.
It's
so that they can
government
even work with
accounting,
it.
yeah.
It's
It's
tough.
different, very different.
Yes, it
than
is.
Regular accounting, yeah,
It's not the old P&L that I shared.
exactly. And the ARPA fund where they, you said in next year they could just do a balancing, an adjustment,
On the budget. That's
on the
we're talking- that was-
$314,000, yeah, the budget.
Right, we were talking budget.
You also state the effect is the city is not in compliance with state law, but that's common, that adjustment failure is common, so you're not alarmed about that.
Yes,
Okay.
we've issued this particular comment
Many times?
Many times.
Okay.
many times.
Let's see, I think that was.
You have all different kinds of philosophies out there. Some governments will go in, they're gonna do a budget amendment, they're gonna wipe everything to zero. You know, some people don't think that's the right thing to do, because are you technically managing? No, you're just going in and you're wiping the budget out.
Right.
Some local governments take the approach that this is what we budgeted, okay? And so then you have to do a corrective action plan to the state.
Okay.
It's really all in what you decide to do.
And once you decide that, you probably just stick to it because it becomes a habit, right?
Right.
Neither one's bad or good either way, it's
That's
just
right.
what
That's right.
happens. Internal controls, would you explain, you do that only to a limit, correct? Based on what you need for your purposes, you satisfy yourself that it's a comfortable environment, for lack of a better word, and that's the extent to which you examine internal controls?
Yes,
Okay. I
Yes.
thought I read that right, I just wanted to confirm that.
right,
Did you do testing of invoices?
yes.
Can you tell me approximately how many invoices you tested? Testing of invoices, and he said, yes, you did, and I said, can you give me an approximate number of how many you tested? I'm not.
In all different sections, probably,
Okay, for all the
Yeah.
different sections?
yeah, I would
Okay.
actually think it'd be,
Capital assets alone.
Yeah.
And then we do additional testing on reviews of credit cards, legal invoices.
yeah, I think
Just a
actually
little
it's
test
more
on,
around 250
but at least the
probably.
biggies anyway, right?
Right, yes.
Okay. I think, oh, is there a reserve required for the water fund? I mean, whatever the balance is, like, you know, you've got like 13,000 reserve in the general. Does the water fund require any sort of money? Okay,
No, the only time you would get into that is if it was required, based off of some debt that you may have.
okay. Otherwise, whatever's in there is in there
It's
and nothing has to
restricted
be
at that
held
fund,
back,
yes.
or, okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Well, David, we'd like to thank you and your company for your efforts.
Well, thank
Just
you.
for everybody's information here, every city has to have an audit like this every year. It's not something that's, if you want to do it or you don't, it's mandatory every year. So we will keep doing them, and we'll keep on the outlook to make sure the citizens' money is spent correctly. And we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else we need to do in the audit, Danny? Okay. Then we need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please. David, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did good.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay. We got a motion? We have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The consent agenda is approved, and for those of you here, especially the scout troop, we have 2 meetings a month. Last Monday night was our work session. If an item comes up on our agenda to talk about, and if all the council is in agreement in that particular issue, we put it on a consent agenda, so we don't have to go through all those details again. It's already been decided. Everybody on the council has agreed to these expenditures. So that's where that's from. So now we'll move into the Planning and Development Committee report. Lisa Newberry.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing we have up tonight is the Planning Commission appointments. And the way this is going to work is I'll make a motion to appoint each individual, and we'll take a vote after each one's appointed. So I make a motion to appoint Linda Dodd to Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
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 Opposed? Done?
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion to appoint Michael Joyner to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Done?
I make a motion to appoint Kathy Swanson to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those 3 people are the new members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I guess we need to swear those folks in, and we're going to do this a little streamlined. If y'all can live with that, can you? Y'all want to come up together? Come on up. We're all a team, yep. Left hand on the Bible, best you can. Hold up your right hand. Hold that for me. Okay. I state your name.
Kathy Swanson,
Okay. Do solemnly swear and affirm
solemnly swear and affirm
that I will in all respects observe the provisions of the Constitution of the United States of America. And I'll continue on. The state of Georgia, the charter and ordinances of the city of Loganville, and I will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Loganville Planning Commission, so help me God.
I will.
Very good. Sworn on this 11th day of April, 2024. And I need for each of you to sign this form over here. This is what's called signing your life away. Thank you, Reverend. Keep in mind, when you make decisions, make out that you can't always make your decision as a recommendation to the council. Their vote will be what is done. Very good. Thank you. Congratulations. Carl, you want to get a little closer? You're okay.
I don't want them to forget.
Congratulations to those 3 new members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. They went through an interview process, and they were selected to be on the commission. And with that, we'll move to the next part of the Planning and Zoning. Lisa?
Okay, in the matter of case number AV 24-017, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance to replace and expand a screened-in porch at 214 Covington Street.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, it is approved.
Okay, and next up is I'd like to make a motion to approve the final plat for the Sharon Commons Townhome Complex.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, approved. Thank you so much. Anything else, Lisa?
Yep, one more thing. I
Yes,
just
sir.
we wanted to make an announcement. A lot of people know this, but if you don't know, we want to make sure you know. There's we're going to hear a case next month for a large mixed-use development on Tuck Road. It's called The Landing at Tuck Farm. And we've added a third, normally we'll have 2 meetings, but we've added a third meeting. It's going to be on Tuesday night, April 16th at 6:30 to 8:30. It's at the Rock Gym. And it's for the citizens to come and ask their questions and hear the developer and hear what the project's about. It's going to be a hard open and a hard stop at 8:30. The city's going to open the meeting. The mayor and council are welcome to come. Paul has asked that we're there just to listen. We'll have our time at the work session coming up, but we're there just to listen. But at any rate, the city's going to call the meeting to order, introduce the applicants, the developer. They're going to talk about the rules of decorum. Everybody needs to be nice and polite. Everybody will have their chance to speak, whether you're in favor or opposition. And the developer's going to make a presentation, tell us about his project, and there'll be a Q&A session. Everybody will have 3 minutes to talk. And then, just so you know, what's coming up next after that meeting on Thursday, April 25th, here in the council chambers, will be the Planning and Zoning Commission. They'll hear the case. The citizens will get to speak also, correct? And you'll have your time then. The work session, let me say this, the Planning and Zoning Commission, they're the volunteers. They'll make a vote that night, which will be a recommendation back to the council. The council will hear the case again and open up a public hearing at the work session, which is Monday, May the 6th at 6:30 here at City Hall. That's our time to ask the questions to the developer. We'll also open up to the floor, so citizens, whether you're speaking in favor or against, you'll have your time again. And then the last meeting will be on Thursday, May the 9th at 6:30. The council will make the vote. So we just want to make sure everyone's informed and knows what's going on. And that is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank
And
you.
just 2 seconds on that.
Yes,
So this
Paul.
is an additional hearing, so Georgia law requires 1 hearing, 1 public hearing. Your ordinance is above and beyond that and gives 2 public hearings. So this is an additional hearing. It is not a public hearing in the sense that y'all are taking any action, but we are advertising it as a public meeting in the case that you guys are there so that we're complying with Georgia Open Meetings Act. But also, what that also means is in discussions with city staff and to comply with your ordinances, then at your public hearing before you guys, there are time limits in those meetings. And so with everybody having time to talk about it 3 times, gives y'all the ability to have a little bit more structure and time limits and timeliness on, because I think that last reason we had, there was, I think, if I remember correctly, I was the timekeeper, like 82 minutes on one side and 82 minutes on the other or something along those lines, so that this 3rd meeting gives plenty of time for everybody to talk. And then when y'all get here, it's been talked about for a long time. So it's an opportunity to make sure the public has plenty of opportunity to speak up and everybody hear about it and know about it. Be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any recommendations for planning and zoning members show up? Should they also not ask questions during this event?
So again, there are many schools of thoughts on that. Getting informed, having conversations and getting informed is very important, right? You guys gathering facts, because y'all are the appointed elected decision makers, legislative decision makers on behalf of these citizens. But my advice is for y'all to not engage in those conversations. Gathering information is great, but not engaging in those conversations. It's for the public to get that information. It's for the developer to have an opportunity to explain the things that they want, for the public to have an opportunity to ask questions. I think it's more appropriate for you guys to reserve your questions for the developer, in your public hearing, or for you guys to provide your positions when you're having your public hearing and your decision-making.
And the same goes for planning and zoning.
Generally, I would say yes. They are only a recommending body, so they're not making a decision, right? They're recommending to you what they think they should do based upon the information and the appointment that you've given them. But generally, I would say yes. I will say there are different schools of thought on that. I'm not going to say there's a right, bright line, but I definitely think there's appropriate paths to take. And I would say gathering information is wholly appropriate. Meeting with people, talking to people, understanding what's going on, but making positions on I like this or I don't like this prior to decisions being made is what should be reserved.
Excuse-
Okay?
Just a comment, may I?
Sure.
I just want to say, citizens, this meeting at the Rock Gym is for y'all. It's a biggie. I mean, I'm just thrilled about it because it's being done for your benefit, because this is a major project, and we knew that you probably had one or two questions or complaints, whatever. But I want to thank Danny, because Danny, unless I'm mistaken, did this, put it together. Paul, I'm sure, gave him legal advice. Robbie, I'm sure, was in there a good bit getting this done. So thanks to all y'all, and citizens, please, we all complain a lot, but if you want to send Danny an email and thank him, that would be a really nice thing to do, because he did this for you. So it's just a nice thing all the way around. So thank you to everybody who was involved.
Okay, Lisa, anything else?
That's all, thank you.
Okay. We'll move now to Finance Human Resource Committee. Ann Hunsinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a couple of actionable items that were put on consent, but I would like to follow up. Natalie, I'm going to put you on the spot, I'm sorry. I want to follow up on the audit. How many transactions do you guys handle in a month?
I probably did 60 yesterday just for bank recs.
How
60
many?
journal entries yesterday just for bank
Well,
reconciliations.
how many? Say that again?
60.
60? Okay. But transactions, bills, payables, invoices, all the stuff that the finance team handles for both funds in a month.
Let me answer, because I signed the
Danny,
checks.
can you answer that?
Oh, I can sign the checks, yes. So there is about 120 to 100 to 160 checks, I'd say, a week. And each check has an invoice, a PO. So there's a lot of paperwork, a lot.
So that's 8,320 checks a year. And how many invoices, multiple invoices for each one that have to be entered in the check cut, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and one person, Natalie.
I just want to say that if any of you, I don't know, I'm in the accounting world, so anybody here that thinks about how much mail you get in your mailbox every day over the lifetime of a year, and if we figure that they only touched 8,320 pieces of paper, and this unmodified auditor's report, which means there were no findings that had to have a modification, and there were no significant deficiencies, 6 errors is 0.0007. So that's 0.07%. I just wanted to say, because I'm not going to spend any more time on the mistakes, great job. Thank y'all for all the work that you do and for your team.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
I would like to say one thing, because they didn't mention it. I would like to say that the entries, the 6 entries were made. They were made backwards, and that was my error. But they were made.
I know.
They were missed.
They're there. They're just to the wrong account. One's
And-
to a liability, expense on a liability. I get it.
And ARPA was an oversight on my part as well, but
Well,
Usually
but we
happens.
should do a budget amendment next year, and then those two findings would be gone.
Y'all did authorize the budget amendment. I just missed that particular line. I was focused on general and water and missed that one.
Trust me, we're gonna have a long talk tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, chop, get on that.
Well, just a note from the
I hope with
council.
a big cup of coffee and some Chick-fil-A for a great job well done.
Just a note for the council and myself, I certainly had my note here to thank Natalie and her team, and thank Danny and his team. In the past, many years ago, these audits were not like this. There was a lot of cleaning up that had to be done years ago, and they have held their line pretty darn good over the last 10 years or so. So we appreciate that burden and the fact that you handle it very well. Thank you. Okay, and then we'll move to Public Safety Committee. Melanie Long.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to report that the elevator over at the police department is back working, so they don't have to climb up and down those steps all day, and court can reconvene and not everybody having to walk up and down. The monitor, which was part of that repair, that part has not been done yet, but that's coming, right? They still waiting on parts, if I...
Yes, that doesn't have to be done for it to be operational.
Okay, but it is operational and everything's good. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Melanie. Moving on to Public Utilities and Transportation. Bill Duval is not with us tonight. I know all of his items was put on the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything in Bill's absence? Okay, Bill's good to go. All right, now we'll move to Public Works Facilities Committee. Here we go. Patty Wolf.
The only thing I want to report on is the city of Loganville. It says monthly reports where they pick up trash and pick up the limbs on the curb and stuff like that. I'm going to do the first quarter because it's quite amazing to me. Public Works trash report. This trash picked up for the first 3 months of the year. 1,000 tons of trash picked up, I guess, off the streets, various places. Right, Danny? Just picked up, I mean, it's picked up around town.
Yes.
In other words, 1,000 tons. And then the chipping report, they made 1,150 stops and picked up 72.5 tons. And the Keep Loganville Beautiful Day, which I don't know how many people showed up for that, but anyway, they picked up 1,160 pounds and 0.58 tons. So there should be no trash out there on the street or limbs, either one. So this is a job well done. This is hard work these guys did. Thank you to them that are not here.
I would have to say, Pat is absolutely right. There should not be any trash out there, but that is wishful thinking. I promise you, there's still a lot of trash out there. So, thank you. Anything else, Patty?
That's it, thanks.
Okay, Now we'll move to Economic Development Committee. Brandon Whitfield.
Thank you, Skip. I don't have any actual items tonight, but I do want to touch base about something we talked about last meeting that I forgot about. We already had 2 applications turned in for the LDA. Do y'all want me to have them, or have somebody call them to fill out a new one for the DDA? Or do I just want to accept those? Because they're about the exact same application, except there's one extra question on there about if they're a owner of a business downtown. Is the only change in the application, I believe. Correct, Danny? There's not a big difference, there's not a difference in the LDA application that were turned in or the
Tremendous
DDA?
difference. Took me hours to rewrite it. No, we just took out the resident affidavit when we inserted the state law, and it'll be good to go tomorrow. Paul's already gave his blessing, so be posted hopefully tomorrow or Monday.
So I just want to know y'all's feelings on that. What would y'all prefer to do with those 2 applications that were already turned in?
Personally, I'd rather keep it simple. It's the same application, just move it over.
Can they just put a note on there that either own the business or don't?
Sure.
Yeah.
And they've already, have you talked to them? And I mean, even though it's basically going to be a similar thing, do they want to be on a DDA?
I called them the other week before we had our first committee meeting to let them know that we might be thinking about going to a DDA. I don't want them to think that we weren't processing their application for any reason other than I wanted to hold off on it until we had that discussion. And they said, well, that'd be fine if we go with the DDA. I wouldn't mind being on that as well, so.
Yeah, they'll have to sign a new application for DDA. 'cause
They will have to sign a new
Yeah,
application.
because you're swearing affidavit that you meet these requirements.
Okay, so they're going to have to redo it, okay.
Yes.
All right.
You're the legislative body, you can change that, but.
No,
our
that's
recommendation would be
fine. I ain't
Sign a new
gonna-
application.
I ain't gonna be breaking no laws up here now. So, we do have a very busy month upcoming in May. It is one of our busiest months of the year for our events crew. Christy, would you mind giving us the rundown?
Yeah, Christy's coming out of hibernation, been on 18 cruises, and now she's got to go to work. Here we go, Christy.
Hello, everyone. On May 4th, we have our car show, excuse me, the Masters Car Club show. It's from 9 to 3 downtown. We'll close down Main Street that day, so it's a lot of fun. I encourage you to come out. Our carnival will be here May 9th through the 12th. That is Mother's Day weekend, but that is Thursday through Sunday. It's always a lot of fun, too. And on May 17th is our first Groovin' on the Green concert. It starts at 7:30 p.m. on the town green, and the band is Doc Rock Radio. And then the next morning, we'll be back on the town green for the Wing Fling. So we got a lot going on in May, and I'd love to see you downtown. Thank you.
Hey, quick
Be fun.
question, Chrissy. Doc Rock Radio, can we hearing like a lot of Margaritaville or something there?
It's kind of a mixture of 70s, 80s. They are on YouTube if you want to look them up. There's a
Oh,
lot-
cool.
yeah, they're real good. They seem like they'll be a lot of fun. So.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you, Christy. Well, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Now we'll move to City Manager Report. Danny Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. Go back to the audit real quick. If I don't say it, I'm gonna be mad at myself. So Susan, Janelle, Jada, and Kaylee, they all help Natalie. So they're the ones that
Absolutely.
writes the checks and the invoices, keeps them together. So thank y'all. Susan's actually Natalie's assistant, so she's learning the process as well. So Susan, is she here? There she is. There's Susan. Thank you.
Very good.
Only other thing I have to add is we're going to have a committee meeting, the 23rd, April 23rd, public utilities, discuss utility rates. Just want to FYI,
What time?
4 o'clock.
I missed it.
Yes, 4.
Okay.
Here at City Hall, this building, in this room.
Okay, and now we'll move over to our very silent tonight, City Attorney Paul Rosenthal.
Thank you, Mayor. You have before you first the Chapter 4 alcohol ordinance rewrite. If y'all are ready, this is ready for action. It'd just be a motion to approve the ordinance as drafted and presented before you. We cleaned up the one question issue with the nonprofit licensure rate, kept it equivalent to what it is currently, which I think is a total of $1,500 annually. And other than that, be happy to answer any questions you have, and if you're ready, you can take a motion and adopt this new ordinance. It'll go into effect immediately, but essentially, you know, the biggest effort will come around and the change will come around when renewals come about for next year. But new license applications that come in tomorrow will be governed by your new ordinance.
Okay, so we need a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the alcohol ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, it is passed.
And then next, Mayor, this is me.
What's
you
your
know.
recommendation?
Well, we serve at your pleasure. I'm here, and I have my associate and soon-to-be law partner, Mr. Donnie Wright, with us here tonight as well. And so if you want to keep my ugly mug and his pretty face around, then we would need a motion to appoint Rosenthal Wright, which will be up and operational on May the 1st. We'll finish out with Preston and Malcolm this month. And then next month, same building, same faces, nobody different, just restructuring of our existing firm on May the 1st, and a little simplification in life for me is the goal.
I think that was a fair assessment. Ugly mug, and that's fair.
I agree completely.
Okay, do we have a motion to keep the new firm Rosenthal Wright LLC as our law firm? Okay, we have a motion. We have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, Paul, welcome aboard again.
Thank you, Mayor.
And now we need a motion to move out of this meeting and move into executive session, and we're going to be discussing real estate matters. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, because traditionally, when we go into executive session, because we don't know how long it's going to be, most of the time we come back to an empty room, and we certainly do understand, but with that said, we need a motion. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All righty. See you downstairs. Okay, could we have a motion to go back into our council meeting, please? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second? Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed? Okay, we're back into our normal council meeting. We have, we talked about real estate matters in the executive session, and we have Lisa Newberry is going to make some motions, and we're going to go from there.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we enter into a contract to sell approximately .018 acres of property near 583 Conyers Road at the Highway 20 Conyers Sewer Pump Station to GDOT as part of the GDOT right-of-way project with identification number 0016787 pursuant to the offer at a sales price of $3,700 even. As part of my motion, the city manager shall be authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to consummate the transaction.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. Now we have another.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we enter into a contract. I make a motion that we enter into a contract to sell approximately .092 acres of property at parcel number LG 060142 Bobby Ball Street to GDOT as part of the GDOT right-of-way project with identification number 0016787 pursuant to their offer as a sales price of $32,100. As part of my motion, the city manager shall be authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to consummate this transaction.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved.
Here, y'all don't want to listen to me squeak, let somebody else read that.
On you, Ann. Her voice is squeaking.
GDOT parcel number 5153. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we enter into a contract to sell approximately .436 acres of right-of-way property and .209 acres of permanent easement at parcel number LG 050010-367 Conyers Road and parcel LG 050009-363 Conyers Road, which is the current library site to GDOT as part of the GDOT right-of-way project with identification number 0016787 pursuant to their offer at a sales price of $710,000. I can't even say that. I've never said that a number that big before. $710,200. I think I said that right. As part of my motion, the city manager shall be authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to consummate this transaction.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that is passed. Okay, with that said, that's the end of our business today. Could I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Any seconds?
Second.
Okay, several seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is now adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for staying with us after the executive session.